guys can find it in your heart to forgive me this morning, because I'm just not with it today. I feel like crap. That's about all I can say about that. Gospel lesson this morning is going to come from the Gospel of Luke in the 12th chapter, starting with verse 49. And it's about Jesus causing division. So hear these words. I came to bring fire to the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. I have a baptism with which to be baptized, and what stress I am under until it is completed. Do you think that I have come to bring peace to the earth? No. I tell you, but I come rather to bring division. From now on, 5 in the household will be divided, 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son, son against father, mother against daughter, daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. And he also said to the crowds, when you see a cloud rising in the west, you immediately say it's going to rain. And so it is. And when you see the south wind blowing, you say there will be scorching heat. And it happens. You hypocrites, you know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and sky, but you do not know how to interpret the present time. These are the words of God for the people of God, and we say,
thanks be to God.
I'll tell you what, one thing about it, Jesus has a way of grabbing our attention. He can get our attention right off the bat. Did I come to bring peace? No, I did not come to bring peace. But I did come to bring division. Not quite exactly what we come to church to hear. Jesus is, after all, the Prince of Peace, the bread of life, the living water. What is with this discourse about he came to divide us? Jesus spends much of his time in the book of Luke reassuring his followers not to worry about anything. And most of his sermons end on a positive note. This right here doesn't sound very positive to me. In fact, it's downright scary. Downright scary. The Old Testament talked a lot about fire from heaven. You know, fire consumed Sodom and Gomorrah. It was fire that come down that Elijah had called down to consume the worship of the idols during the Baal worship time. He'd come down and consume the offering. Fire was used a lot. Now Jesus is talking about bringing fire down from heaven to the earth and how he wished it was already kindled. People of Jesus' time knew a lot about fire. Fire brought them out of the darkness. It was a source of cook by to keep warm, just as much as it is today. And yet we take fire for granted because we have control over fire. We have control over a lot of fire. Touch of a button, we can warm ourselves. So we warm the button and control the thermostat. We can control ourselves. Don't get started. Oh well. Ancients believed that fire was a manifestation of God. But you might have guessed that this is exactly what Jesus is not talking about. He's not talking about it. He did refer to the power of what God was about to do, the consuming power, that fire that Jesus wanted kindled was the cross in which he was to bear. Jesus also reminded us about the division that will come within families. And we know from our own history firsthand. During the turbulent times of the Civil War, when families were deeply divided and chose sides on which they would fight. Both sides. And sadly enough, there were times when one family member would kill the other one, sometimes without even their own knowledge. The real division, though, comes with following Jesus. That's where the division comes. There will be times when you will say yes, and others in your family will say no. Even friends and family will think you're a troublemaker for having your faith in Jesus Christ. And I say, thank God for troublemakers. I thank God for troublemakers. True story. Sociology professor every year begins his course on family by reading his class a letter from a parent who had written to a government official. In the letter, the parent complains that his son, once obedient, once highly motivated, has become involved with some weird new cult. And the father complains that the cult has taken over his son's life and has forced him to forsake his friends and turn against his family. Now, after reading the letter, the professor asked the class to speculate on what the father was talking about. And almost without exception, the class immediately assumed the child had gotten mixed up with the Moonies